I'd love to introduce Max Mueller. Please give him a round of applause.
Hi, I'm Max, and I love the music I hear in cartoons. Sometimes the music makes me laugh. Sometimes it makes me sad. But no matter what happens, the music always makes me cheer at the end of the movie. If I hear music I like on TV, I'll go to the piano in the dining room and try to figure out how to play it. It takes me a while, but I'm getting better. I'm learning a lot of musical magic tricks from the movies. When I play with my friends at the park, I always hear music in my head. I hear brass and percussion instruments when we play pirates. I hear woodwind instruments when we jump out of the swings pretending to fly. And I hear string instruments when the sun sets and the stars come out. I just joined the orchestra at school. I'm learning to play the cello. In the first month, I learned how to play Happy Birthday. Now we're learning to play harder music. I love telling a musical story with a group. Sometimes I have the melody, and then eventually get to share it with someone else and start a different job, like a rhythm part or a harmony line. I always feel special in the orchestra because I know all the music magic tricks to make people laugh, cry, or cheer, and I get to make that magic with my friends. Someday I'll move to Hollywood and write music for cartoons. I hope the kids that listen to it also hear the magic.
Thank you so much for being here this evening, and thank you to Tina and CTN for allowing my friends and I to come with my little Mickey Mouse dog and pony show for you tonight. So before we begin with the orchestra and everything, I just want to give some opening remarks on sort of my philosophy about film music. So I promise not to prolong it, and it will be almost entirely painless. Tonight we're going to talk about music in animation, specifically music functioning as a storytelling device. So how does music tell a story in a film? In my opinion, I think it tells a story in much the same way that the visual elements tell a story. We have a protagonist or a group of characters that we see in moments of joy, in moments of sorrow, comic relief, love, danger, and hopefully triumph. This is the internal emotional journey that we go with these characters, and these extraordinary fairy tale-like circumstances befall these characters, and there's amazing action moments and beautiful locations and pyrotechnic special effects. And the way that the characters end up at the end of the movie may be very different from where they start at the beginning of the movie. With a film score composed with this philosophy, we have a series of themes that are developed and attached to the various characters in the film. These themes are memorable, singable melodies that hopefully, even if you're not a trained musician, you can remember, especially throughout the course of the film. And they also recur throughout the movie. They appear in moments of joy, sorrow, comic relief, love, danger, and triumph. And even though the emotional sort of subtext of it changes, it still has to be recognizable to the audience. You still have to identify it with that character. If the themes are the internal emotional journey of the characters, the external plot stuff that happens to the characters is an opportunity to write really cool pyrotechnic ballet music, if you will, that highlights the physical action, or really cool atmospheric music that highlights the beautiful locations and set pieces. And the way that a theme appears is heard at the beginning of a movie may be very different from the way that is heard at the end of the movie. So I love animation, and I think it's the genre of film where the meteorological conditions for music to flourish as a storytelling device are the best. Not just because it's already a departure from reality, not because most of the canon is for children, but I think animation scores actually do something really clever that, and have done something really clever for the last 40 years, that live action movies sort of go up and down. There's a rising and falling tide. But any fictional narrative is asking the audience to buy into their suspension of disbelief. And I think that what animation does so successfully is it prioritizes writing. The composers prioritize, or the directors allow the composer to prioritize writing the music with character first and concept second. So I define concept as the parts of the plot that, the circumstances with which the characters find themselves devoid of the character's emotional reaction. So it's plot twists and world building stuff and all the stuff that is necessary. But if the music comes from the side of concept, to me, it always feels sort of passive, it feels sort of indifferent to the characters, and it's harder for me to buy into my suspension of disbelief. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight, is just using music as a storytelling device, and we'll get into the details of how to do that. Let me find my next note card.
I've got a specimen to take back to our planet.
Yes, I believe I found a prime one. And she sure is pretty. Activating tractor beam.
Tell me you got one. I got it. But it's putting strain on the beam, increasing power.
All right, let's see what we got.
Cowabunga.
Thank you very much, Max. Thank you very much, the orchestra. Thank you, James, for the class. I think you did this in 10 weeks? This was a 10-week class on how to be a part of a crew of a real production. Thank you, Max. Brilliant. Let's go have a drink.